participating in exercise in a social way. So I'm a huge, huge advocate for social support when it comes to exercise, eating behavior, weight loss. It is an absolutely crucial part of a weight loss journey or a journey to increase physical activity. There's a few different kinds of support we can get. One being informational support. I'm providing that to you right now. I'm giving you information about how to be healthier, how to start an exercise program. So I'm simply giving you the information. Another form of support is more tangible support. So this could be a walking buddy that you have. It could be somebody who's willing to watch your child while you go work out. Okay, so this is more physical, tangible support. The last and arguably the most important form of social support for exercise and a healthy lifestyle is emotional support. Okay, so having somebody or somebodies in your life who support your goals and are there to celebrate the triumphs with you and cry about the losses and the devastation that you have going on in trying to increase your exercise, those people are so important to find. It's really interesting in some of the research that I've had experience with. A lot of times people who are struggling with their weight don't have the emotional support or really any kind of social support from people in their in-person lives, right? So their friends, their family members, their kids, right? Their kids might whine about, why are we eating this green stuff? Like, I want to go back to chicken nuggets. And you might have a spouse saying, like, I don't want to eat this healthy crap. This is your goal, right? So that's kind of an unfortunate situation, but it happens a lot. So the cool part about a lot of the stuff that I've had experience with is adapting these lifestyle interventions to be delivered through Twitter and Facebook on social media. And we did a study where we looked at people's in-person relationships compared to their relationships on Twitter and Facebook. And for people who were losing more weight, they actually rated their in-person relationships as less helpful and less supportive than their Twitter and Facebook relationships. Okay, so the people that they're meeting online who have the same goals, right, they have goal similarity, they're rating them as being more supportive. It's amazing to see what people are willing to share online as far as pictures. We had a wonderful person who would take pictures when they go to work and say, oh my gosh, somebody brought in donuts to work today. What do? I just want to eat the donut. And everybody's chiming in on Twitter saying, don't do it, it's not worth it, right? Chiming in for them, they get all these notifications and they're like, all right, I got this. But if we were running a traditional in-person group where we're trying to give the support to people for behavior change, they'd have to wait probably a week before they see us again, and 5 donuts have probably already gotten eaten by then. So it's a really cool, I'm very biased, but it's a really cool opportunity, I think, to use the technology that's out there. And for you students who are out there, I'd love to hear about new forms of technology that you think we could do these kinds of things with. But it's a great opportunity to get advice from your peers. So people who are, again, goal aligned with you. They want to start an exercise program, or they've just started and they can give you a few tips on what to do if you're just starting. And people are really pretty nice online, which is nice. And then this idea of competition. So some of us are driven by competition. Many of us, maybe in this room, are a little bit competitive, whether it's with other people or with yourself. So as a previously competitive runner, I would get competitive with myself, right? Can I reduce my time on my mile? Now I'm just at the point where can I run a mile? Which is really humbling to get back to that, and I'm feeling that muscle soreness because I just increased my volume and all that good stuff. So social support, again, is very, very important when you're trying to build new healthy habits. Surround yourself with people who are trying to do the same. Talk to them, complain to them about what you're going through. They've probably gone through something similar and can give you some advice about where to go. So I went on Facebook in thinking about this talk, and I searched for exercise support. I just plugged in exercise support. And here's what came up. I got ladies workout support group, workout challenge support group, diet and exercise support group. So again, if you're one of those people who don't have a lot of support, and maybe in your in-person relationships, try for some online. You could go on Facebook. I'm sure there are lots of community programs that are out there, but don't be afraid to kind of go out of your comfort zone. Starting a new exercise program, lifestyle change is already getting out of your comfort zone. So why not just push a little bit further and see what you can find that can help you build your program. Okay, so just to reiterate, for you guys to take home, right? Make your goals smart. monitor your progress. You can download one of those cool apps if you want, or grab a pen and paper. Get feedback from whomever is willing to listen, and be proactive and talk to your physicians about getting feedback from them. And then lastly, and arguably most importantly, find support. Okay, you can't do this alone. It is you against you, but it's so much easier to do it with the support of other people around you.
So if we could have the three speakers come back up, and we have an opportunity, short opportunity for Q&A. If you have a question, we can just stand up and ask away.
So while people warm up with questions, I have some comments. I really love your presentations. Both were amazing. And first of all, I wanted to start. I don't know if you've seen that we were discussing about pulling and pushing and how we tend to hunch over. And sadly, these guys are taking the blame for it. But the next time that sadly internet is down and you are forced to go to the mall instead of plugging into Amazon, look around for 80-something people around you. If they're hunched over like that, this guy were texting for years and years and presume. Possibly not. What happened is that we are hunters. Our eyes are in the front. So we do everything here. We pay attention. So all of you were like this when I was talking about it. When they were talking, you were like this, paying attention. So we tend to move forward. So the reason why we tend to hunch over is because of that, of the nature, the eyes in the front, so we tend to do things at midline. So that's important. We need to break that, basically working on the back muscles. To prevent injuries, what I do is actually I make one change at a time. And you were discussing about volume and intensity. I usually use frequency, duration, and intensity. So you will add, if you're doing an exercise program, when you go into that, changing from twice a week to 3 times a week, you want to be sure you don't make any changes on your volume, you don't want to make any changes on the intensity, you don't want to make any changes on your reps. So you either change your reps, or you change your sets, or you change your resistance, or you change the frequency, but don't make more than one change, otherwise you will hurt yourself, because it's really exponential, the change, the challenge you're giving to your joints. Good sore versus back sore. This is something I've been talking lately, or thinking lately. And I would say a rule of thumb is that if you're having pain closer to the joint, possibly a back sore. If it's in the middle of the muscle mass, possibly a good sore. And that term that they say, no pain, no gain, is talking about the good sore. The bad sore, no pain, always. You having that pain, please give us a call. And lastly, I really love your example about what you describe about how you progress your exercise program, 10 minutes a week or so. Actually, we have patients, for example, that have fibromyalgia. You look at them the wrong way, they're hurting. So what I tell them is, put on your sneakers, put on your sweatpants, so that will give you a psychological stimulus. And walk 2 to 5 minutes. Maybe basically 2 minutes that way and 2 minutes come back. That's it, that's your exercise for the day. But do it every single day at the same time. What you were describing, organization, organize yourself, make it tangible. Then, every week, every Monday, you'll add 1 minute. So maybe the first week they're doing 3 minutes, the second week they're doing 4. And then suddenly in 3 months they're doing 30 minutes. It sneaks on them. And it's very common that we as physicians, we write a prescription and tell the patients to exercise, but we tell them start exercising 30 minutes, basically what we're told. And the patient does that, they never exercise in their life, and they're in bed for 2 weeks because they really cannot handle it. I prefer someone to be exercising every single day, 5 minutes, and be able to do it next week, and doing 30 minutes one day, and then basically taking a break the rest of those 2 weeks because they're really gonna handle it.
Thank you. Come on, audience, you've got 3 experts in front of you. Open season to ask questions.
So either we do it too good or too bad.
Too good.
Either good. Either way.
Too good for sure. Kristen.
I'll ask it a second question. This is one that's hard for me to answer. Students ask me, how do you motivate someone?
It's a really great question, and ironically enough, I'm teaching motivation and learning this semester, and I asked my students this a couple of days ago, and it's really hard when you think about motivation versus influence. So I like to think about, right, somebody who says they hate exercise, right? They absolutely hate it. You might be able to influence them to begin exercising, but motivation is something internal. So how do we, right, change people's ways of thinking to where they want to exercise? And it's really difficult to do that. I think honestly, from like a psych perspective, I think about exposure therapy. So let's just expose them to what exercise is. And it doesn't have to be running on the treadmill for 30 minutes. It could be running around playing with your kids. I think a lot of times when people think of exercise is in the gym, on a treadmill, you're running, you're on the elliptical, but it doesn't have to be that way. So I think if you can find some way where somebody can get some enjoyment, like maybe kayaking or paddleboarding, right? There's some other relaxation component to where they might become a little bit more motivated to engage in that activity and then open their minds up to other possibilities. So I hope that answers.
Some of my best workouts I haven't considered them workouts. So if I go for a hike with a friend, I'm going for a hike. It's not like I'm going to get a 2.5 minute hike or 2.5 hour hike in here to get my workout. It just ends up being that. Of course, there's snacks somewhere along the line. I thought I saw another hand somewhere in here. Go ahead.
I have a question about like warming up and cooling down. I would say I just guess, so I try to do sport specific. So if I'm going to do an upper body pushing, I should probably warm up, make sure like my joints are stable. Like is there a certain way, intensity or duration that you prefer?
Yeah. Yeah, and so the first place, I was just thinking when you were asking that, it's always going to be, where, like, going back to that current situation, where exactly are you in terms of your exercise progression? So your warm-up's going to be dictated based on the activity that you're going to be doing. So if you're going for a walk, per se, just, easing into it, doing something, allowing your body to loosen up and to warm up. But if you're going to go into a resistance training program, that's something we would talk about in terms of trying to elevate the heart rate just a little bit, getting some flexibility and some mobility work in, which could be simple as just doing some dynamic in-place stretching, walking on the treadmill, or riding the bike for a little bit, anything to elevate the heart rate and to prepare the body and prepare the muscles for the activity. I would always promote a full body warm-up, even depending if you're going to do upper body or lower body. I think it's just a great place to incorporate some flexibility training as well, which we talked about the importance of that with injury prevention.
So I agree 100%. So basically the way that I see it, you possibly want to warm up, right? So the best way of warming up and getting these juices flowing will be basically doing some gentle aerobic exercise, maybe 5 minutes. And you can pick up what you want to do. You want to do a treadmill, you can do a rowing machine, you can do a stepper, elliptical, pick your poison. So that's the first step. Then you want to do some stretching. And I forgot the audience, and I know there's a lot of debate on how stretching doesn't work. And the reality is that I really see patients that have minus 20 degree range of motion, 13, 14, 15 years old on their Achilles. And they're having either severe disease, which is a inflammation of the growth plate on their heel, or plantar fasciitis, or Achilles tendinitis. And they stretch, they get more flexible, and they get better. So there's something there. I personally think that the main challenge is because we have so many